Ted Lasso story. Wait a second, the live stream's going up right now.
Okay.
Let's try this shit. Hopefully the internet doesn't kill me on it. Ted Lasso story. Lasso story. Okay. I'll turn the volume down so no echo. All right. All right. And 1, 2, 3. And welcome everybody to the glorious episode of the Put on the Raiders podcast. I'm your host, Dwayne Douglas, along with Ryan Holmes, and we are podcasting on the beautiful shores of the Pacific Ocean out here in California. I'm here. Ryan's still in the Lone Star State out there hanging out. So how are things going out there for you today? You know, the Raiders victory, being able to walk through Texas, knowing the Raiders beat the Cowboys is even better, right?
Yeah, we'll see the next couple of days before I head back to California. It'll be good to throw on the Raider Nation hoodie and walk around Dallas tomorrow.
Yeah, it'd be nice. They definitely listen, the Raiders win this game, and the wins game 17-13. I'm not used to these low scoring games, I guess, for the Raiders to do that. But I will say this, just clap out loud for the offensive line. I thought they were kind of the stars of this ball game today. They moved. Andre James has gotten much better. I mean, he really has progressed a lot in this year. So, kudos to him. I think they only had one offensive holding penalty in this game. So as far as that goes, but they moved the pile. They pushed the Broncos around, and they were able to move the football on the ground, which is something we've been screaming about all year for this team.
Yeah, clearly the Raiders went at halftime, and they talked about establishing the run because they came out in the second half. I want to say 10 of the first 11 plays on that drive were runs, and they clearly got Josh Jacobs going. They mixed in Peyton Barber. You even saw Jalen Richard get a third and short carry that he converted on a 4-yard run. And then when they needed to, they just turned around and handed it up. They ran the ball 40 times today, which is a lot. This is a team that hasn't come close to that. And Jacobs getting 27 carries took us back to early last year against Carolina, his rookie year when he was getting 25 plus carries in games. So it was good to see him hold up after the fumble, and he almost put it on the ground a second time. Ball security's been an issue the last couple of weeks, but he took it upon himself in that second half, and he finished with 129 yards on 27 carries. So good to see Josh Jacobs get going, but he can't do it without the offensive line. So I think Simpson, James, and Leatherwood on the interior were moving guys, and the Raiders were able to get it going, and then they stuck with it.
Yeah, and I think that's been one of the biggest parts of the running game is to when you have those 2 or 3 yard gains or some losses in the run game, to stay with it, keep running the football, keep turning out yards, and it really helped them in this ball game. I mean, we're still waiting for that big run. We haven't had a 60, 70 yard touchdown run for the Raiders, Raiders here running game in a long time. But hey, listen, they won the game. That's all. We can't say just win, baby, and then get mad at the way they won. They were able to win that game. I think there's times where, Carr held the ball a little bit too long. And I think, obviously, Jacobs, and I know he talks to Marcus Allen every day, but the only guy who could hold the ball like a loaf of bread and not fumble was Marcus Allen. He got to hold that thing a little bit closer to the body. It was funny that hearing Tiki Barber talk about that. He had, fumbling issues, and he kind of corrected those things there. But that has been an issue for him. I think, if the really good part of the game was the O-line, the special teams, and then with AJ Cole and Carlson, but then the half and half was Carr and Jacobs, right? They gave you a little bit of why people like them, and it gave you a little half of why people don't like them.
Yeah, I immediately, when I saw Jacobs carrying the ball when he fumbled, he didn't even get touched. It went off his knee when he was carrying it pretty low and with one hand. I went back to that Washington football game, the last drive when he broke that 9-yard runoff tackle, and he jumped when he hurdled the defender, and he was just holding the ball out there with one arm, kind of like this. And then you're like, what are you doing, man? Tuck it away. And then ever since then, he's kind of been pretty loose with the ball. He's not tucking it in there. And to hear Tiki Barber critiquing another running back for fumbling, I thought was interesting on the broadcast. But Derek Carr had some throws that he made today early that you were like, okay. He zipped some in there to Zay Jones. They threw that slant again. They had a Yankee concept where they hit Jones again. The touchdown to Renfro was a great throw. He had a back shoulder throw to Moreau. So things were going. And, my biggest takeaway from this game is clearly after the interception right before halftime, which I clearly disagreed with. I think I texted you before, just run the ball and go to half. And the next thing you know, they're throwing an interception on the screen with 30 seconds left. It's just mind-boggling. Understand the opponent, the situation, the score. You're playing a true lock. Don't turn it over. Go to halftime with the lead. Clearly, Rich Bisaccia didn't have those intents, and it backfired.
It was open though. It was open though.
It was open. You got to get the ball up and over a defensive lineman.
I know.
Chubb made a good play, but you just can't make that mistake in that situation with the game on the line. Unfortunately, it didn't come back to hurt him. I wonder how much Carr was really hurt because you saw him holding that shoulder prior to the fumble, and he fumbled once again. And I really want to look back at the tape and see what was going on with Hunter Renfrow. There were a lot of snaps in the second half. Come to think of it, when they went to running the ball and they went to 12 personnel with two wides, he wasn't on the field. It was Deshaun Jackson and Zay Jones. Hunter Renfrow snaps. When we look back at this on his snap count of the 67 plays they ran, I wouldn't be surprised if he played 40 or less. There was a lot of instances where he wasn't on the field. I don't know if that was due to injury or what. But I would immediately get him off a punt return. We talked about that. You have to have him in this offense right now, and you can't have him getting injured or nicked up. So hopefully that wasn't the case. Hopefully it was the game plan just for run blocking. I don't see how Deshaun Jackson's a better run blocker than Hunter Renfrow, but I don't think he was on the field a ton in the second half.
He did return he did a fair catch. I don't think he was going to return. I think he did return one actually, as far as that goes. But he looked, I think when he, on that throw to the pylon back of the end zone, when his knee hit, maybe that was something. I don't want to speculate like I'm a doctor or anything, but he seemed like a little bit slower after that. They really didn't go to him much after that. I do like the fact that he had one. That Carr threw a laser on one of those balls where it's just him going to the ground to catch it. He just snags it out of the air like in the second half. I just felt like Renfro's hands are absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, the one, if you notice, the first one he caught over the middle in the first quarter that he kind of caught as he went to the ground. You could read his lips when he got up. He was yelling at Carr to get to the line. I don't know if he caught it or not. They never showed the replay, and the Raiders got up and snapped it, which was good. But it'll be good to go back and look at that. But I don't think he caught it because you could see Hunter Renfrow clearly tell Derek Carr to get them on the
line. And how many times have you talked about that? If you don't catch the ball, don't come to the line or whatever. Don't act like you caught it. Like if you didn't catch it, he was so discreet about it too. He was just like, "Hey, let's go." He kind of whispered it like, "Yo, let's go, get to the line, run a play." So I thought it was. He kind of played it Joe Cool on that play as well too. I thought it was good by him.
Yeah, overall, I think the offense again. 3 turnovers, a lot of issues. Not scoring a ton. They got over that 16-point hump they've been waiting for, but not by much, only by a point. They got to 17. And we talked about if the defense or special teams didn't score in our preview show, they weren't going to get to 20, and they didn't. They got to 17, kind of right where we thought they'd be without a defensive score. And unfortunately, the offense put up 27 this week, but they gave 10 to the other team. So thankfully, the Raiders' defense showed up today and essentially gave up 3 points to Denver, and they crushed them. 8 first downs allowed, 18 yards and 16 carries, 140 yards passing, 158 total yards. Denver only ran 40 plays in the game and were 1 of 10 on third down. So the defense clearly showed up today. I don't want to hear about it with Drew Lock. That performance against any quarterback in the league, whoever it is a dominant performance. And that team can still run the football, and the Raiders shut them down.
Yeah, Denver hasn't had that kind of output all year, really. So to say that, listen, people just, somebody tweeted out today, they said, oh, the Raiders beat Nick Mullins and Andrew Luck, but that's it. They also kind of evens out because they also lost to Justin Fields and Daniel Jones and company as far as that goes. So the 3-way tie of 8-7 Ravens, 8-7 Chargers, 8-7 Raiders. The Ravens win that, obviously, because they have them in the 7th slot Right now the Chargers are in the 8th slot and the Raiders are in the 9th slot, but that can change dramatically. And I think it would be. I mean, I think we're all, people will be kind of clamoring, going crazy, and for as far as like that whole battle between the Raiders and Chargers, if that game at Allegiant was for a playoff spot, and it could possibly be for a playoff spot going up there as well.
Yeah, I'll be
Bradley,
there. I have tickets for that game. I'm hoping it's for a
I
playoff
know you
spot.
do. I know you do. I know you do. Gus Bradley or Gus Ryan. And on some of these third downs here, he was not. He was not shy about. I mean, obviously it's the opponent. He knew the opponent. He wasn't playing around. He threw the ball. I mean, excuse me. He was blitzing much more than he usually does. So good job by him. And we wanted to see it. I thought there was one blitz too many. I thought ended the half. Don't give McManus, who has a big leg, an opportunity to kick there. Just rush for play coverage. As far as that goes, because Drew Lock is just going to hold the ball and just take a sack anyway. But thoughts about Gus Bradley and the defense. You talked about that before, but he does. You've been clamoring, and we've been clamoring for him to blitz a little bit more. But he did it, and it was effective today.
Yeah, and just going back to that defense performance, even though it was Drew Lock. Drew Lock didn't play a terrible game by any means. He didn't turn the ball over. It wasn't like he was taking a ton of sacks. So, like, he got the ball out on time. There was some drops that clearly helped the Raiders, but let's not act like they were playing a four-string guy who'd never played a game in the NFL before. And then on defense, I was surprised. Nate Hobbs was activated this morning. I was pretty excited about that. And then he basically played special teams. He didn't play on defense. They went with Keyshawn Nixon in the slot. Dallin Leavitt started, which we all anticipated. Desmond Trufant played a great game at corner against some pretty talented wide receivers. So I thought the defense, and the surprising thing to me, Yannick Ngakoue, hats off to him. He played the run today, which we haven't seen a lot the last.
Had a huge loss. Had a huge TFL in that second half too. Did a good job there. I gotta give him credit for that.
Yeah. And then hats off to the return of Denzel Perryman, the Pro Bowler. And I saw a tweet, I retweeted it with kind of with a meme from Coming to America from the barbershop when he said he ain't lying. The Carolina Panthers paid Denzel Perryman $1 million this year to play for the Raiders, and they also have $1 million cap hit next year because they gave him a $2 million signing bonus that actually spread out during the trade. So hats off to the Panthers for paying $1 million to ship a Pro Bowl linebacker to the Raiders who have desperately needed one. And it's clear that when he's in the lineup, he's a difference maker. They could not run the ball. Even without Hankins and Darius Philon, hats off to him for staying ready. He's been inactive a ton this year, and he was a real difference on the interior. So the Raiders defensive line, showed up, and then obviously the linebackers. Diablo got lost in coverage a little bit. He got benched for a second there on some of those deep over routes in cover 3. But the Raiders did this missing 4 or 5 starters. Whether you want to argue about missing Mullins or not, or Mullen, his replacement Faison didn't play either. So either way, they were down. A starter, you could argue 2. Keyshawn Nixon's probably the third nickel, and he played. So they didn't have Hobbs, they didn't have Hankins, they didn't have Abram, they didn't have Teamer. So they're down to their third string safety. So, like I said, you don't give back wins in the NFL. You definitely don't give back division wins, especially at home against a rival.
Yeah, and I think too, when you think about it too, is Denzel Perryman probably wasn't gonna get vaccinated if he stayed on the Prime Panthers. And I think that and that was kind of their little contention with him too. But Gus Bradley and the team in the Raiders organization kind of helped him to do that. And maybe they told him, hey, listen, you're going to be on the field a ton on this team, like where you're playing a whole lot on this squad. And now he's a Pro Bowl linebacker, so give him a lot of credit for that as well. I think it was the Green Bay coach. Did you hear what the Green Bay coach said about Max Crosby? Which I thought was incredible. Yeah. I thought that kind of, and like I was thinking about it today, and I don't get caught up in the story. I feel like it's part of who he is as a player. So I think the story is really cool. But I will say this: I never thought I'd like a pass rusher as much as I like Khalil Mack with him. But like, it's something about him, his effort that he gives on he's trying to disrupt every single play that is called by the opposing offense. He gets tackled for loss. They said, hey, I can't play. I'm not good at playing a run. So he went out there and got better at playing a run. Like, he has really been a star among a star along with Perryman and some other people on this Raider defense. I'm not going to sit there and say that they're not. Like I said, they're not the '85 Bears. They're not the Ravens. But I'm just saying, like, him being there helps ease the pain of like that of 52 not being with the Raiders anymore.
Oh, absolutely. Max Crosby is hopefully getting a long-term extension this offseason. He deserved to make the Pro Bowl. The fact that he got elected a starter with 5 sacks at the time says everything you need to know about his ability to disrupt plays and affect offenses, because players around the league are voting on this. Fans across the league are voting on this. And for everyone to recognize him as one of the best 3 defensive ends in the AFC is a tribute to everything that he's put in on and off the field. And you heard John Gruden talk about it all off season about how that orange Porsche, I believe is what he drove, was in the parking lot, sun up to sundown. And when John was leaving and coming, Max was still there. And the fact that he doesn't need, 8, 10, 12 sacks to make the Pro Bowl shows you that he's affecting the game in every phase, whether that's disruptions, pressures, tipping passes, hitting arms that leads to interceptions, tackles for loss. And he's clearly getting double teamed at a high rate, and he's still trying to overcome that. And then he's not giving up in the run game. You see him last week chase down the line of scrimmage to make 2 tackles on that last three down stand to get the ball back to Carr against Cleveland. Shows you what kind of shape this guy's in, is too, playing almost every snap.
I gotta give a shout out to Keyshawn Nixon as well. I thought Keyshawn Nixon had a really good chase down of Drew Lock, where it looked like he was going to go, far for a first down and catch him down. He's been tackling pretty well as well too. So he's been kind of in that slot, doing a good job for the Raider defense. I'm going to kind of switch over to the offense a little bit now. Good game by Jacobs besides the fumbles. I'm not sure what, that actually was a really creative play by Carr to get out of that, he was in a mess, about to get sacked, flipped the ball, kind of did a little bit. We saw like 3 or 4 flips from Josh Allen today against the Patriots. He was killing Patriots with that play. And then if he just runs towards up the field, then boom, he has the first down easily, hits his leg. I'm not sure how how that happens, and when you handle the ball as much as he does. But 27 carries, 129 yards, 4.8. Barber was 4.4. Rashard only had 1 carry, but he was 4.0. That's what you want from your running game. And I think if they can somehow continue this. There are some players who won't be there when they play the Colts because of the COVID situation. That's not the Raiders' fault. I love Leonard. He's not going to play this week. That's not on me. That's not on the Raiders. The Raiders have enough players missing from their team to non-COVID that you can say, hey, nobody's going to feel bad for them as well.
Yeah, the Colts are going to be down at least 3 defensive starters who are unvaccinated, I believe, including one of the safeties, I think, Kari Willis, in addition to Darius Leonard. Darius Leonard is one of my favorite players in the league. If there's one defensive player in the NFL right now I could trade for, it'd probably be him on this defense. But the Raiders, if they can go in there and run the ball, they don't need 160. If they can just approach 100, kind of control the clock, get into some third manageables. It was good to see the offense convert 6 out of 12 on third down today, which is something they've been very bad at. And they're going to have to stop the run against Jonathan Taylor. And they showed up today and stopped the run. 16 carries for 18 yards. It's the 8th best running game in the league. And let's not forget, the Colts were down 4 of their top 5 offensive linemen in that game against Arizona on Christmas Day. So who knows if Quentin Nelson's going to come back? He's on the COVID list. Eric Fisher got hurt. They're missing the right side of their offensive line right now. So the Raiders are going to have a chance here to go on the road against a banged up offensive unit. Granted, they still have to stop Jonathan Taylor, who had a good game. But Carson Wentz, if you can get and affect him and get pressure, he'll turn the ball over. He'll give you opportunities. They have to capitalize on it. This defense needs to come up with some turnovers here in the last 2 games because they just haven't been doing it lately.
Yeah, he will definitely listen. If the physical tools for Carson Wentz are there, there's not even a question about it. But 100%, he'll definitely give you the ball. The part that I'm worried about is they lead the league in turnovers, and with the way the Raiders are handling the football like a hot potato, that seems like an appetite for destruction there. But we'll see how that goes. Just a couple notes on the day, real quick. Listen, you can't ask for more than what the Houston Texans gave the Raiders this Sunday. I mean, they really did a number on them, and I watched that entire game, and they moved it up and down. I mean, I'm not sure what Brandon Staley was doing on defensively, or what he wanted, what his game plan was going in against David Mills, but it was bombs away. They got sliced up every which way you possibly could get sliced up in a ball game. I think that was a really impressive victory by them, and it helped the Raiders a lot. I mean, the Raiders are in a position again where it hurts. It really hurts the Chargers big time to have lost to a game that was, a game that you think they would kind of run away with.
Yeah, and this is where that three-way tie comes in that you talked about earlier. So essentially, for those wondering, you separate the divisions first. So it's the Chargers and the Raiders. Right now, the Chargers are in second place. The Raiders third. That'll all change if the Raiders can beat the Chargers. And then you go to head-to-head. The Ravens beat the Chargers. So that's how you get that order: Ravens, Chargers, Raiders. But that could all change quickly. If the Raiders win the next two, nothing else matters. They're in the playoffs. We'll see if they can do that. But I saw some tweet I sent to you right before this that said that's the first time the Houston Texans have done anything to help the Carr family, which I thought was kind of funny after Derek Sweather David's career in Houston. I only got a little bit of that game. I think I maybe have watched one or two drives in the second half, so I didn't see exactly what Houston was doing to them. But if Houston can go in there and put up 40 points on them, the Chargers are in trouble right now. They're going the wrong way.
I can say real quick. I guess the Derwin James was only playing in emergency situations. I'm not sure what that was going to be, but they went deep. They went intermediate. They also ran the ball with Burkhead hard. I mean, Burkhead had a big game. I mean, to see what he had. The stats real quick, but Burkhead killed him. Burkhead had 22 carries, 150 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That's what Rex Burkhead did against them. So
that's the Achilles heel of the Chargers, running the football.
No question about it. Davis Mills was 21 of 27, 254 yards, 2 touchdowns. This was without Pharaoh Brown got involved too. This was a game where they really they just dominated. Morrissey started at center in this game, had like 2 or 3 holding penalties, but that's all right. That's all right. Hey, listen,
fits in for a Raiders draft pick along the line.
Yeah, you gotta protect the quarterback by all means. So as far as that goes, but yeah, anything else on this? Go ahead.
Yeah, I think going back to the upcoming game against the Colts, Darius Leonard's clearly going to be out. The key is going to be establishing the line of scrimmage, and the Raiders can't get into a game where they have to throw a ball all the time because Chris Jones came in and dominated this line. DeForest Buckner, he's real. That's an All-Pro defensive tackle the Raiders are going to go up against. They don't have great guys coming off the edge. Their linebackers, they have speed and they're athletic. They're not great run stoppers when Leonard's not there, and then they play really good in the secondary. So the Raiders aren't going to be able to throw the ball all around the yard going on the road. So they're going to have to control the line of scrimmage. But I think they have a chance to control both lines of scrimmage. If let's say the Colts are missing 3 of their 5 starters on the O-line, and then if they can figure out how to just get the running game going enough to where they can take shots with play action, they have a chance to win this game. This game is not a game where they're going to go in there and probably get blown out. I think, there's life in that building now coming off back-to-back wins. And the Colts are due for a letdown here sooner or later. I think they've won 8 of their last 10, something like that. So, they've been playing really good. They're about to have one of those games where, things just don't go their way. And hopefully it's next Sunday.
Yeah. Is somebody tweet something about Denzel Good? He's out for the year, right? He's not coming back, right?
Yeah, he's on IR. I saw that too, but
yeah, and I was
he
like,
had a torn ACL. There's no way he's coming back in 3 months on a torn ACL.
Yeah, I mean, he's not Adrian Peterson. I mean, come on. It's not happening.
I think for Raider fans, before we get to next Sunday, I think the biggest thing to be on the lookout for is they can actually interview candidates starting tomorrow for the head coaching position. Yep. So there's a report today that Todd Bowles is going to get expected to get an interview. Interview, I think that's a good move by Mark Davis. Try to see if you can get some of the coordinators on teams that are expected to make deep playoff runs. So you at least get a chance to talk to them before you
Yeah.
go into your second group, and see if you can get permission from the Buccaneers. I'm not all in on a defensive coach. I don't think it's a bad route. I see a lot of people commenting, well, he couldn't get it done with the Jets. Well, that Jet team was not very good when he was there. He's always coached good defenses. I'd have a big concern that it's going to be hard to rebuild that offense if Todd Bowles can't bring in a really good offensive coordinator. And he's clearly, Byron Leftwich is going for head coaching jobs. He's not going to be able to take the Raiders job and bring Leftwich with him as the OC, because Bruce Arians isn't going to allow that to happen. So I just, hopefully the Raiders, you start to hear some names pop this week. I don't think it'd be a good sign if they go through the whole week and they don't interview anybody, you don't hear anything, and we get into next week. I clearly think that Mark Davis, even if he's not going to make a change, you can still interview guys and keep Rich Bisaccia, which I think would be a mistake, but there's nothing against interviewing these people. And Rich Bisaccia is an interim head coach. He's not the head coach. So there is an opening. I really hope that we start to hear names circulate and confirmed interviews this week.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, and I hope that Bowles isn't just to get the quota higher part of it, and he's a quality candidate. I don't like him for this team because of what you said. Like, I'd be more inclined to get an offensive guy who might keep the defensive staff. It's just, I know they're not a great defensive team, but I just feel like with an off season, if they can fix the offense to get to where they are, getting 24, 27 points a game, this could really be, I'm getting way ahead of ourselves, and I actually have a good draft as well. I mean, my goodness, imagine that. I mean, it all depends on whether or not Mayock, I don't know, if Mayock stays and Mayock can say, hey, I'm the one who knows who made these picks. That's a problem. I mean, like, we know John signed off on all of them, but we don't know exactly who made all these picks. So we'll have to see what happens as far as that goes. But shout out to Philon. You said he just showed up in the run defense all day today. Good job by him. Perryman was all over the place. I do think it's going to be a battle of. This game is interesting because you have two on Sunday when they play the Colts, two quarterbacks who have all the physical tools, but have a tendency to turn the ball over in critical situations. And both teams are going to be leaning heavy on their running game and their defense. Like, I think it's pretty. I mean, these two teams are like mirror imaging of each other going into this game. But I think the Colts are a little bit better, but we'll have to see as far as that goes. Who's going to come on top on that one? But you celebrate, it's Victory Monday. You celebrate Monday, you celebrate Sunday night, you celebrate Monday, and then back to work on Tuesday and Wednesday to see what's going on. Maybe you get some Darren Waller as well coming up.
And Darren Waller is going to be the key this week because the Colts are a heavy cover 2 team. So you're going to have to be able to affect the middle of the field in between the linebackers and the safeties, or get down the seam. And we'll see. They're going to need those guys. Maybe, Deshaun Jackson on some balls down the sideline. But this is not going to be a game where they're just dropping back and throwing the ball down the field. It's going to be, dink and dunk, take what they can give you, hit some underneath routes to run after the catch. And my favorite part today is I went back to the box score, and the Raiders running backs only had 3 receptions, and I want to say it was like 5 or 6 targets. Like, they were at least throwing the ball to the wide receivers and using the tight ends, which is huge. They got away, and I know they didn't go out there and put up 30 points, but it was really good to see those guys get involved and it not be Renfro or checkdowns.
Yeah, it was nice. It was nice to see that, and I think this is what, like, I'm not asking. I think Deshaun Jackson too is like, they gave him a lot of room today. So, the comeback route was what was available. Like, I don't think he's asking to get like, 40 catches in a game. He's just like, keep him involved. It was nice to see him catch a couple of passes to move the chains. Like, Like, I'm not trying to, let's get that going. Also, Zay Jones, 6 catches for 50 yards, and he wasn't trying to track down a 50-yard bomb. He was doing what he does best. Thank you. That was very nice. Also, last note from me, at least, was good to see Greg Olsen stay aggressive on that last play of the game to kind of ice the game. I know people were like, when the ball was folded up in the air, they were like, oh, the worst thing you could do in that situation is overthrow the receiver. So you'll see on some deep patterns, quarterbacks will underthrow a little bit. He could have laid it out a little bit more for Moreau on the game ender, but good to see him stay aggressive and like end that game right there.
Yeah, definitely. It was good to see Carr, put enough air under it and let Moreau adjust to it and make a play on it. He was wide open. Denver was selling out. The Raiders are running it down their throat. And that was a 3rd and 2, so they knew they were going to try to run it. And it was good to see them stay aggressive there and go for it. And they were up by 4 too. So it's not like they were up 2 or 3 where a field goal ties it. Even if they don't get it, Denver's out of timeouts. You're punting it. They're probably going to have to go 80 yards and score a touchdown. So the situation was right to take that shot.
Yeah, no question about it. All right, Raider Nation, thank you for joining us here on the Put On Raiders podcast. We will get you late in the week when we get that all 22 and we can dissect some stuff. Make sure you follow Ryan at R. What was it? I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm really tired. RHOLM22 only on Twitter. Only on
Twitter for now until I get my Instagram back. Someone hacked me. I'm going to find out who it was.
We got to hunt that person down. See what's going on there. All right, man. You enjoy Texas. See you when you get back, man.
All right. Take care. Thank you.